And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
Well, hello to everyone and a very happy Memorial Day weekend. I hope you get to spend this day with family, friends, all the people. Josh and I are getting back from the magnificent North Carolina location where Fort Bragg in Fayetteville, North Carolina is at. We had a blast with some of the troops there. Saw some great fighting. They're really working their butts off to get better. Man, there was some guys that were in there. The girls were the ones that stole the show, though.
Oh,
the
absolutely.
girls were going after it.
Man,
it was fun to have. Did you have a good time?
I had a blast. We did some zip lining and, we got to meet obviously a lot of troops. And what I loved about this weekend or this week when we were there, it was like they had all their families out all around base. And what they were doing is they were doing certain events and certain things. So it was great.
All American week.
It was All American week. And I loved seeing all these, wives and fathers and everyone just out with the kids and doing whatever they could to entertain the kids. They were out doing the zip lining. The kids were in full force doing the zip line. I thought it was great.
Oh, the best is this, because you and I both did the zip lining. Mm-hmm. And obviously the heavier you are, so it worked really well for me. The farther you drop and the bigger the kids would jump out of that thing. And they would just go straight out and just swing back. There was no drop.
No.
It was the best.
No.
They would do all the stuff that they were told to do, and they would jump out, and it would go, zzz, and just take them down as they're doing their little starfish thing. It was hysterical to watch it.
What was funny was they said, hey, make sure you tuck your chin, which I did. But then it caught the straps on the harness that were attached to me. One of them caught my helmet, and my helmet had a strap that went underneath because they didn't want the straps to catch your ear, your head, or your chin or whatever, because you'd get like a burn. And it caught my helmet, and my helmet had a strap that went underneath because I had chucked my chin, and it got me a little good one right across the little thing,
zippy line,
a
right
little
there.
zip line thing right there. So it was pretty funny.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's a souvenir.
Man. Yeah, it was
That's a souvenir,
something I
man.
could take with me. Everyone's like, man, what happened? You cut yourself shaving? I was like, no, the zip line got me.
I jumped out of a tower and zip lined down with full pack on.
Elaine's like, Miss McCarthy goes, you're like a little kid. Because I just kept running back up and down. Didn't go more. And we had to go to do some other meet and greets and stuff. And it was just funny. I was like, I got time for one more, right? I got time for one more. It was fun.
I got to stand there talking to the captain because I gotta be, and it was like he goes, oh, I'm sorry. He says, he goes, you want to go again? I said, no, it's too late now. It's fine. It's all good, right? But it was a good time. It was fun.
I thought it was great, man. I was like, I could have spent all day doing that. I could have spent all day doing it. I could have went up and down, up and down.
The best part was what of that?
The best part of it?
I love the ending. Yeah, because the ending, you hit that thing, and man, that kicked you up basically sideways, and you're swinging back down. It was like, that was fucking cool. I enjoyed that part.
John, it's weird. I don't know if it's just me, but maybe someone else in the comments can verify. Maybe they have the same problem. Anytime I get close to high edges, I want to jump.
Yeah,
it's a scary feeling. Like if I've gone across like the Golden Gate Bridge and walked across the Golden Gate Bridge, and I look down, I'm like, I could live.
Yeah.
It goes through my mind. I'm like, yeah, I could live if I make that jump. I mean, maybe not the sharks, but I could live. I don't know what it is.
Golden Gate Bridge, you are not going to live once you hit the water.
I'm telling you, man. I think I could.
No, dude. No, terminal velocity, baby.
But I'm one of those
cement.
people. You get me near a close edge. When I'm on top of a roof,
I'm the same way.
I feel the need to jump.
No, man. From the time I was a small kid, because what my dad did and stuff, he was always taking me up in helicopters, or he would come up with an idea. This is one of my dad's ideas. A way for you to get a position. If you had someone that was really doing something bad and stuff, is you have these close buildings in downtown LA, so he would take a fire ladder, and he would bring the fire ladder up to the top, put the fire ladder across to the other buildings, either into a window or onto the top, and you would walk across the ladder from one building to the next and then go down towards where your suspect was at. And so when I was a kid, he would sit there and he would do it. He goes, "You want to try this?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so then I would do it, and then he would bring all his guys, and they would start to practice, and they go, "I'm not doing that." He goes, "My goddamn kid does it. Chuck, go do this," right? And I'd run across the ladder, right? And they go, "I hate your fucking kid."
He used you as a guinea pig.
I did. Oh, dude, all the time. I was never afraid of heights. When I was a police officer, I would get up on top of, there was a couple 60, 70 stories, and for whatever reason, you ended up on the top, and I would walk the ledge on the rim of the building. And so my partners would go, "What the fuck are you doing?" It's no different than walking where you're at. It's all in your mind. Do you have a fear of it? And so it causes you to have anxiety, and that's going to make you screw up. Or is it, hey, this is, it's no different than walking on anything else. If it's 18 inches wide, I could walk that all day long, and that's no problem. But it's all of what is in your mind.
It's very true. This is very true. I get close to edges, and I'm like, I can jump. I can do this. And it's just, I don't know.
I can make it.
Yeah. I mean, every time,
fly.
Every time I get close to, like, I've been skydiving about 12, 13 times. Yeah. And I get, as soon as that plane door opens, like, I'm ready to go. I'm like, let's fucking go.
Oh, it's the best.
It's awesome, man. I mean, I love it. I mean, like, it's always tandem, so it's not just me. You know what I mean? But, remember, there was a guy named Steve Heath. You remember Steve Heath?
Yes, I do.
Friends with Hendo. He used to live down in Temecula, or I don't know if he
absolutely.
lived down. His
good wrestler.
Yes, exactly. Good
wrestler. Fought for a while.
Yep. His parents owned a certification program in Temecula for skydiving. And Dan Henderson's like, "Yeah, come on down." I never went. I should have. I just couldn't get down there. I could have, but I never made it a focus. But I should have, man. I always wanted to get certified to go skydiving, just do it so I could jump myself, man. Fuck, it would have been such a blast. But I'm just one of those people. Like, I would have loved to have been able to just go anytime I want, just go skydiving. It's been a blast. But outside of that, man, I had a good weekend. A good week. I mean, we had a good week during All-American Week, and then we got to meet a couple generals. We got to watch some great fights. The fighters are picking up some new stuff. It was kind of good to see from my perspective, because I had worked down in Fort Huachuca with probably close to 2,000 troops with Bobby Southworth, Mike Swick, and it was Oak Grove Technologies that they took me out there years back. I think this was back in like 2007, 2008, sometime around there. And we would wake up every morning for the first couple, Monday through Thursday. We woke up at like 4 a.m. and we started training them up on this football field at 4:30 in the morning. And you didn't realize how young they were, how much they didn't know, and it was good to see like the growth of. I know it's a different area, but it was good to see at Fort Bragg the different growth of the troops. No, how much knowledge they had, the wrestling mixed with the
absolute Muay Thai, how much
jiu-jitsu, yeah,
because I've been doing the Army Combatives for a long time. I did their very first championship one and everything, and the growth is look they got some people who can fight now. Mm-hmm. I mean, really fight. There was a couple in there went, how did this guy not get to the finals?
Yeah,
there was a couple. I was like, you got to be kidding me! But it's there's some real talent.
Yeah. What was impressive was a lot of them have a wrestling background, which is what I feel like is a necessity these days if you want to be a good fighter. So you have to have good wrestling. So start wrestling your kids young. And then I think the growth from the wrestling to the jiu-jitsu, if you can program them to do the both of them. The striking, I didn't realize this when I was younger, is when I was about 16, 17, I started training Muay Thai because I was like, I got wrestling, I can fight, da-da-da. But my little brother was training jiu-jitsu at the time, and he was wrestling a little bit as well. And one day he came home and I was messing with him, goofing around, big brother stuff. And I got to his back and I was like giving him the ride, and I crossed my feet and he hit me with that little cheesy ankle lock. And it was one of those moments where he's like, "Stop picking on me," and he slapped it on, and I was like, "No," and then he slapped it on. I was screaming like a little girl. I was like, "Let it go, let it go." He's like, "No," and he loosened it a little bit.
No.
He'd loosen it a little bit and then put it back on real tight. Loosen it a little bit, put it back on real tight. He's like, "You gonna stop? You gonna stop?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay." But it was just funny because it was a reality check for me. Like, wow, this jiu-jitsu shit works. It was just that moment right there that kind of got me addicted to, okay, I went from training Muay Thai because I had wrestling, and I started training jiu-jitsu literally the next week. Just came in and started training jiu-jitsu. So it was fun, man. And obviously the rest is history. So you could arguably say that my brother's the reason why I started fighting, because I started training jiu-jitsu after that. And then within like 6 months, I had my first fight.
See, blame it on the brother.
Yeah, never liked that kid. But yeah, it was fun, man. I had a great time this week. It was like I said, it was very eye-opening. It's great to see the younger troops really getting the training they deserve, what they need. And what I liked at Fort Bragg is, we ran into one of my old blue belts who trained with me, Bryce, and he came out and he met us for dinner, and then he met us the next day real quick just to say goodbye. He had to work, so he wasn't able to hang out the whole time, but it was great, man. He's like, yeah, he trained on one side, and we met him at another location where they have training on the other side. And there was, I guess, 5 or 6 locations where everyone could train with different instructors. And so, he's been training over there for a bit, and it was good to see him. It was nice. He's got a brother who's really good too and trains. They both got their blue belts for me. And I think his brother's about to get his purple because his brother lives in San Diego. He's been training nonstop. So good for both of them, man. They're both really good kids. And good.
The one thing I got to bring up though, it's not a confidence course. It's a stress course on the shooting range. What those guys did. Sergeant Zanoff, I just want to tell you, you are a torturing fool. I love you, man. The goddamn course that this guy came up with was brutal when you look at it and you realize what these guys are actually doing. And they were going through it and having fun doing it and, really, putting out. But the damn thing takes the average, I want to say average person, between 15 and 18 minutes to complete. Mm-hmm. And you are going that entire time. It's kind of like a fight, man. And you got to figure out your areas for you to actually take a breath and go, because, man, they were doing, they would, all kinds of rucks with 50-pound sands, go a quarter mile, come back, you take all these sandbags, throw them over a wall, go over the wall, pick up the sandbags, put them into a wheelbarrow that 100 yards down, pick up some put another rucksack on, pick up kettlebells, walk those down because those are like ammo cans, go do a course of fire. Then you got to come back, drag this weight coming back, all the stuff that they did, and then do it almost all over again through another shooting thing. Then that unstable platform.
Oh, that was awesome.
For all those guys doing that, man, you guys were awesome as far as the effort you put out. And Sergeant Zeta, you are awesome. He is now on my Twitter feed.
I thought the unstable platform while trying to shoot the star was pretty impressive.
It was.
After running and dragging all the sandbags and the wheelbarrow and sleds and it wasn't like you're dragging it on a flat platform of like a AstroTurf. You were dragging it through just the terrain itself.
A field.
Through a field that was just not level and anything like that. It was pretty awesome to see. And they were putting in some damn good times. One of them had, when we were there, one of them had a 12-minute time. 12 minutes something.
What, 12 minutes plus, and then you got to go through the course of fire, which you figure is 40 rounds through an M4, and then 10 rounds with your pistol. And that dude did not miss a target.
Yep.
And his final time was right at 10 minutes.
Yeah, because what they're doing is that when you don't miss, it deducts. When you hit the target,
when you miss, deduct 20 seconds.
No, you add 20 seconds if you miss.
You miss, you add 20 seconds. You're right.
Got it.
You hit, you deduct.
Yes. And so maybe it took him 14 minutes to do the whole thing, but he had hit all the targets, and I think they were shooting 20 rounds is what he was saying. So they had 20 shots or 20 attempts and he hit every single time, which is pretty damn impressive. So
especially off that unstable platform you were talking about, because that thing was like standing on a Bosa ball, and you're actually shooting. And it's funny because I used to do the same thing, in LAPD, but we, trying to figure out ways to make people feel unbalanced and tired, and we used to actually put them, and have them do a thing and then spin them around with a bat on their head, that stupid thing just to make them.
Yeah.
not safe because you're sitting there trying to make sure that they're not going to fall down. They're holding a weapon, all this stuff, but you're trying to do anything to kind of make it to where it's not comfortable for them. So same thing. It's great.
Great job, instructor. Get them dizzy and then give them a loaded weapon.
Exactly. Nice. That's the whole problem.
Yeah. Very nice.
Never had a problem with it.
Oh, man. All right. Well, we had a great week with the USO. I want to thank them so much for bringing us out, and all the troops. We appreciate you. We thank you. And for keeping us safe, for giving us an opportunity to do what we love. And thank you so much. So, John, let's go ahead and let's get into this. I guess there was I didn't see this because I was slammed all day yesterday.
Because you were sleeping.
No, I was not. You know what's funny? Since we've been back, though, yesterday and today, I've gotten some pretty good sleep.
All right.
We're filming now. It's 6 in the morning. We normally film an hour earlier, and I'm usually up about an hour and a half earlier. So it's this is kind of nice. I slept actually till about 10 minutes ago. There you go. I feel like I'm wide awake now. I got a lot of sleep. I was waking up periodically thinking like, man, did I oversleep? But no, this is good. July 30th. Everyone's been bugging us. Everyone's been bugging you. I don't know. I'm getting probably at least 3 or 4 DMs, probably a day, at least every other day. People going, when is Patricky versus AJ McKee? So I'm like, calm down, guys. It's going to be announced soon.
Yeah.
Well, here it is. July 30th at Saitama Super Arena in Japan. We're doing another cross promotion between Rizin and Bellator. And this is gonna be awesome, man. So Horiguchi's last fight, his opponent did not
work out.
Yep, didn't work out, didn't make weight. So guess what? They rolled him right into fighting in Japan, which is gonna be amazing. And this is gonna be the main event in a Rizin card is Patricky versus AJ McKee. I cannot wait. Rizin Bellator card.
Yeah.
Rizin Bellator.
Yeah, and they have some great fights. A couple that are crosses and overs as far as Bellator guys versus Rizin guys, but also just Rizin versus Rizin, Bellator versus Bellator. But it's a really cool card when you look at it, and it is the inaugural Flyweight Championship. Bellator is introducing a 125-pound Flyweight division. This one between Horiguchi and Shinru will be for the title.
Oh, wow.
So that's kind of an interesting matchup right there. That'll be a 5-round fight. And then you have the 5-round last World Grand Prix lightweight matchup for the first round between AJ and Patricky. And like you said, I've gotten all kinds of people, and I'm like, they're going to announce it. That's all I can tell you, because I can't sit there and put it out.
No.
Yes, I knew it was going to be in Japan. Wasn't sure of the actual date, though.
Yeah.
It took a while to get the actual date.
Yeah, we're a little hesitant. Like you said, like you can't release, and if you work for the company, you can't really release anything. Otherwise, you won't have a job anymore. So sometimes sometimes being first. I mean, like if you want to find out,
sometimes being first is not good because you're last.
Yeah, because you can honestly end up losing your job. I mean, you can ask Ariel about that. So you can. Sometimes it's best not to say anything. And but no, this is going to be
the company put the information out.
Yeah, this is a great card. But let me see what the rest of the card is. But the main event, and then obviously Horiguchi to me is at 125. I would love to see him and DJ before DJ retires. I'd love to see the two. Yeah, again, John. So much time has passed.
Oh, I know. That's the whole point. It's almost not. I'm being honest. Like a DJ is fantastic. I love him. But he's getting older. He's 36 years old now. Where what's Horiguchi? 33? 32?
I think he's 32.
Yeah. See, I mean, it's one of those. This is where that it can. First off, I don't ever want to see DJ lose again. So I don't want to take a chance. I know that's wrong, but it's just the truth. And so it would be a great matchup, and it would be a fantastic fight. Yeah, look at that.
Ooh, what 32. Is that?
Horiguchi's 32, by the way.
Yeah, see, and he's right at that point of,
What's that? What's that noise?
That's
it may be the fan above me. Hold on.
Jeez, buddy.
Jeez.
Thank you.
And then you got Juan Archuleta taking on Asakura for that bantamweight.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tournament. It was a tournament for Rizin.
So this is what you guys got. So when we're doing this, look, there's going to be 5 fights of the Bellator Rizin combination, and then you're going to have Rizin's main event come in, which is going to be Juan Archuleta, who's fighting Asakura for the title in their tournament there at the bantamweight tournament. So they're going to be in the middle there. It's going to be Big John, myself, Sean Grandy, Amanda, and we've got a team that is going over there to call these 5 fights. But I'm pumped, man. I'm pumped for this whole thing. I'm pumped for the whole event. This is gonna be a fun fight, fun night.
Yeah, and the best part is it will be live, so you're gonna have to get up at a weird hour to see it if you want to see it live. But they're doing it live, which they should. Any fight, I don't care what card it is, should always be live. Don't do tape delay. Tape delay, stupid and sucks.
We got murdered for the longest time because people were because we weren't live. And I'm so glad we got away from that. And we just got away from that in just our last show, right, John? It was our last show. I think it was the show right after.
It's like you look at what they did with Paris.
Yeah, that was live.
You know, it's live, and it has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times? And again, we get all kinds of people saying, "It's like, trust me, I'm with you. Mm-hmm. I believe the same thing." But if you haven't figured it out yet, Josh and I are not in charge.
It's above our pay grade.
And we sit there and complain all the time, do we not?
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny. I mean, how many times have you heard DC say, "I'd like to see this or see this with the UFC"? And Dana White goes, "Yeah, that's why DC doesn't make the decisions." And that's exactly what happens. You would love for things like this to happen. Like you want something to be changed, but it's got to be up to the brass, baby, the higher brass there.
That's it.
But this should be a fun fight, man. This should be a great card, and I'm excited for all of this. And AJ McKee versus Patricky has finally been announced. Tofik Mosayev is versus an unknown fighter, but they've got some time.
Yep, he's on the card.
And
there's also that kid. I can't think of his name. Damn it. I want to say he's from Azerbaijan also, and he's been fighting in Rizin. He's freaking tough. Tough dude. And I can't think of his name, but he's going to be on that card too. Okay. Oh, there he is.
Karamov.
Yeah.
Is he with us?
Bulgar Karamov.
Did he sign with us, or is he with Rizin?
No, he's with Rizin.
You know who I'm excited to see fight is that young kid. I think he's fighting in Chicago. Is Timur. I can't remember his last name. Kylov? Kalek? No.
Fiziev?
No, is it Fiziev? Yeah, he's going to be a little stud. What is he, like 21? I think he's 20 years old.
I'll tell you what. There's a young kid you're going to really like. It's first
Timur.
fight. Bellator signed him.
Not Timur. Fiziev. Timur. No, Tim. It's Timur.
Timur is his first name. I can get it for you.
John's echoing. Are you hearing me? Okay, John? Because I just
Kizriev.
I just spelled his name.
Yeah.
Oh, John.
That's him.
Yes, that's him. How old is he? Oh, he's 27. Yeah. I thought he was younger.
No.
I thought he was a baby. Maybe it's because he seemed like a baby when I talked to him. He seems like so young. All right,
there
guys,
is a kid that you're gonna really like though, and you're gonna be calling his fight.
Who's this?
His name is Max Mesger, and he is originally from Illinois. Now he's I think he's living in Ohio now. Mm-hmm. But this kid wrestled. There was I'm trying to think of the name of it. It's the something Oak Forest River High School is known for the wrestling program. He was on the very first. They won the national championship. The very first team from Illinois ever ranked number 1 in wrestling, which is pretty amazing across the country. That's where the kid wrestled at. But he, as a amateur, 7-0. But this will be his first pro fight. But the kid can fight. He's fun to watch.
Look this kid up there. Who is it? Look him up.
His name is Max Mesger.
Max Mesger. Come on, Dave. Get on this. What's taking you so long,
Metzger.
buddy?
Metzger. I'm sorry, Metzger.
Jeez.
There you go, Max.
There you go.
Can't see him.
He's 0-0.
Yeah.
What gym is he out of?
Look at his amateur.
Ronin Training Center.
Yeah, in Ohio.
Okay.
But if you look, go to his history there. Go up a little bit. And the impressive part is he's got 2 decisions, both bookending his fights. But he likes to strike, but he uses his wrestling to get to where he wants to be. Kid can wrestle. The amazing part of him is he was on that national team. He was one of the lead wrestlers in it, but he got a academic scholarship to Ohio State. He didn't get a wrestling scholarship, academic scholarship. So the kid's got brains. I love him.
Well, I want people to understand that, look, just because a lot of these fighters punch people in the face, or they get punched in the face, a lot of them are very educated. That's what people they don't realize. I mean, I think that may start falling by its side a little bit, only because people are starting to get into the sport a lot younger now. No different than, say, football and basketball and baseball. They're playing at a young age, but a lot of them use that opportunity to get themselves into college and maybe play the 1 year or the one and done or whatever it is in basketball if they need to, and play sports in college to get a little bit of an education and then move on to pro sports. In fighting, I mean, you can really just kind of wrestle in college, but a lot of them academically are extremely smart. They just choose to be fighters and take that run because they know they don't have much time to make as much money as they possibly can, especially to see if they can be the best. You can always go back to school. Not that you will. The stats show that you normally don't go back.
And the stats show that you did not.
Yes.
I didn't either.
But it was one of those things. I actually told myself I would go back, but I also thought that I would be done with my career a little bit earlier. I didn't think it was going to last as long as it did. But I also was considering joining the military. I always wanted to join the Air Force because I wanted to jump out of planes. I was a very weird person.
Air Force doesn't jump out of planes. Air Force flies planes.
I wanted to fly planes, and I wanted to jump out of planes.
Okay, let me tell you something.
Could have jumped out of helicopters.
You are flying the plane, and then you're jumping out of it, there's something fucking wrong with the plane.
Probably something I did to it. Yep. I wanted to be the first real Top Gun, buddy. It was awesome.
Okay.
No, it would have been great. Look, Chuck Liddell graduated from SLO. Brandon Couture graduated from Oklahoma State. Hendo and all these guys, they all graduated from college. Now I know it's a new, different generation, but to say that these fighters are not academically smart, or to say that and no one's saying that, but I'm simply pointing this out. People look at fighters and they think that they're stupid, they're dumb. It's just not true. A lot of them are extremely smart. A lot of them are very well educated. A lot of them have learned somewhat the hard ways on what it takes to take care of their money, take care of themselves, take care of their own family that they have. So not a lot of us came for money. Not a lot of fighters came for money, and so I think a lot of them you're going to see do very well, not academically, but financially, because they know what it was like to not grow up,
to not have money. But then it goes up.
It could be the other way though too. Some of the
it can. I've seen it too many times.
This is the other. I think because MMA, and in no way am I saying this is a good thing. I think because MMA fighters don't make what NBA players and NFL players and baseball players make, is that they have to realize, look, this isn't a lot of money, and they know that, and so I have to be very smart with it. Whereas if we were all to get that signing bonus of $3-4 million right off the bat, and then making $2 million
that many times is the problem.
That would change.
You think it's going to be there forever?
Yep, and not only that, you're like, oh man, I'm rich. Like I've got all this money. No, man, no, it doesn't last as long as you think. And why do you think you see guys like Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal and Troy Aikman and these guys still doing commentary? Because not only do they get paid a ton of money, keeps them involved in the sport, but it keeps them active and busy. But their lifestyles have created them to live probably a little bit outside the means that they used to provide for themselves. And now this is a good
doing okay.
Shaq's doing just fine.
Shaq's doing just fine.
Shaq is doing just fine.
Shaq has so many businesses.
It's crazy.
I mean, he's done very well. Congratulations to him. He deserves every bit of it.
Have you heard what he tells his kids? When his kids say, they ask for something and they say something, he's like, and he tells them no. He's like, you go get me a business degree. Don't go get me some sociology degree or whatever. He's no, you go get me a business degree. You bring it home. He's like, and now you can be part of what I'm doing. He's like, otherwise, he's like, we aren't rich. I'm rich. And I thought that was, I thought that
There's
was
no
I got that was the greatest line because he said he had heard his kids, he had overheard his kids telling like other kids that he was rich or that they were rich. He's like, yeah, we're rich. He's like, you know, and then there he's like, hey, come here, boy. He tells the story. Come here, boy. I don't want you telling your friends that we are rich. No, I think you misunderstood this. I am rich. It's just so funny, his deep voice. It's so great. I thought, like, man, I think it's hilarious when parents are like that because it's true. Like, hey, I worked hard for all this. You know, it's fun. Trevor Prangley used to tell me, and I thought it was kind of, I was like, you got to be kidding me, man. He's like, look, when I die, I'm not leaving my kids anything. I worked hard for all this. I'm not leaving them anything. He's like, I mean, obviously he's got a house and all these other things, but it's like, he's going to leave them something, but it's like, he's like, no, I'm going to spend every penny I have in the bank, all these things. And I'm like, man, how can you do that to your kids?
No, that's bullshit. Yes, because I look at it the same way. All right, you know, my parents, you know, they sit there and they'll say, "Oh, you know, when I leave, I don't want anything," and I'm serious. I don't want anything. You don't owe me anything. You did exactly what you were supposed to do. You raised me. You paid for everything when I was a kid, and when I went out on my own, it was time for me to be a man and fucking take care of myself. And so, it's, you know, the things that I'd want from my parents are stupid things to other people. It would be, you know, something that reminds me of them, a little thing that reminds me of what I did with my dad in that situation or my mom. But it's like, I look at it, you know, my kids, hey, I paid for everything. I don't owe anything. Now, if they get something, fine, but you don't owe your kid. Once you've done the right thing and you've, you know, paid for your kids, and trust me, Jossie, you're not in that position yet because your kids are very young. It's not going to stop when they're 18. You still pay for them.
John's got a farm because of his daughter.
Yeah, there you go. You're still paying for them when they're 30-something, right? But that's okay because that's your choice in putting, you know, your money towards that or anything like that. But it never ends. You're always paying. Eventually, I think somehow it kind of switches it around, you know. Yeah, you know, I have like my father-in-law living on the farm with us here and stuff, and you know, and now he gets his little, you know, he's got a pension thing that he's got and stuff, but you know, he never, you know, I buy dinners all the time, and that's the payback. There comes that point; it has to be that way too.
You know, it's I know we're getting off topic, off fights and stuff.
Oh yeah, it's just a little bit.
This is kind of. When you say like you don't want to leave anything for your kids, and it's funny because when my dad passed. Not that I don't want to. They don't deserve. There's no deserving with it. Yeah, that's true. Is that when my dad passed, I was like, I remember all the things in his house, and I was like, okay, I'll take that. But everything else, I was like, I don't want any of this. I don't want any of it. Like it didn't matter. Like. So a lot of it I just gave away. I donated, I gave away, whatever it was.
Sure.
But I have one thing now after all these years. I mean, we're coming up on over 20 years he's been gone. But it's like, I have one thing. I have his tool box. So I have his old Craftsman toolbox that he had, you know, since I was a kid, since I was like probably
and every 4. Time you look at it, what does it remind you of?
Yeah, exactly. It reminds me of my dad.
That's the point.
But everything else in the house, every little thing in the house, I don't even look at it. I don't have it. I don't have any of it. Just the toolbox. But what I do remember, it's funny, is just, you know, dad carrying me on his shoulders, us going to the river, and you and I have had these conversations about do things with your kids. It's about make memories. You
Absolutely.
know, traveling,
that's what
wherever
life's
it
about.
was. My dad and I used to we would do overnight trips, and he would drive all the way through the night. I didn't realize how fun it was, or how great it was to have someone that would do that. We would leave from Chico, drive all the way down to Huntington Beach to meet the rest of our family, you know, and spend the weekend on the beach, and he would drive all the way back. That's a fucking like 9-hour drive, almost 10-hour drive every single time. You know, and he would drive through the night so he could get me to school back in time, and he could get to work back in time. But it was just the way that he functioned. Like, hey, he would do whatever he could. Those type of memories are the things that I remember the most. Creating memories with your kids is the most important thing, you know. Absolutely. And going places, doing things. You know, we would go up to the rivers, spend the whole weekend on the river, and have fun with a bunch of buddies, and you know, just rafting, whatever it was. We'd spend time. Those are the memories you remember. Those are the most important parts of the relationship that I ever had with my father. And you never think it's going to end, but it does eventually. But it's something that I think a lot of people, instead of trying to buy your kids shit or give them stuff,
make memories.
Just make memories, man. Like when we drove to Texas, we hit the Grand Canyon, we hit Hoover Dam, we went into the helicopter, went down into the Grand Canyon, had lunch, came back out. Zip lining, all these things.
And let me ask you this. Okay, and so this is the whole point. And I tell people, if there's one thing that they can't take from you, it's memories. You can lose the house, you can lose the cars, you can lose the money, all of it. Until the day you die, the memories will remain. And they're always something you can look back on with, a lot of pride and joy. Because if you talk about, you've talked to me about the helicopter ride. It wasn't the helicopter ride.
No.
What was it? It
was the two of them on the headsets talking to each other. That's all they cared about. They didn't care about how high they were in the helicopter. They didn't care about anything. They just cared about the two of them being able to talk to each other through the headset. It was pretty funny. It was, and all it was them just saying each other's names back and forth. Just saying, "Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you." That was it. That was it. So
but see, that's it. Funny. That's the best part. Sometimes
all
it's silly things.
I know we got off topic, but let's get back into the Bellator. July 30th. It's going to be great. It's going to be like you said. It's going to be live. So I believe it airs local time in Japan around 1:30 in the afternoon, 2 in the afternoon, sometime around there. But that'll be about 1 a.m. or 12 to midnight, 1 a.m. Back at home. So all the people that were complaining to me that it was, it's on tape delay. I already know the results because Bellator ruins it by posting it on Instagram. Well, they're going to be posting them live. So you better either stay off your internet if you're going to sleep in and not watch it live.
That's it.
Or just stay up, which I think, I got to be honest, at midnight, I think people will stay up and watch it. I just it's when it's at 4 in the morning and 5 in the morning.
Every UFC, I'm up at 1:30 in the morning watching it.
That's true. You are true. That's right. I forget. You live on the East Coast. That's going to change for me too, because I'll be in the
Central.
What was that? Central time.
Central time.
Yeah, that's going to suck, man.
No, it's great.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
See, Dave. Even Dave knows it's going to be great.
Dave just likes it because I'll be closer to him. That's all.
No, he thinks he's going to like it, but what's going to happen is we're going to do a show, and Dave's going to do his normal stuff where, he starts to try to push buttons and do his thing. And we're going to say, all right, see you guys later. Boom, and we're done. And you're going to get in a car, and you're going to drive down there, and all of a sudden, 2 hours later, Dave's going to have a knock at his door, and he's going to go, What?
Yep. And he's going to see, what's going to happen, right? It's going to come up on his phone because he has Ring. It's going to come up on his phone. He's like, fuck, he's here. What am I going to do now? He's just going to, Tanya, go answer the door. Tanya, go answer the door.
Tanya.
He's going to,
Lincoln, Ben, go get the door.
Perfect.
Yeah, he's going to send the kids. So, because he knows I got a soft spot for kids. He's going to be like, go ahead, Link, go get the door. Go ahead. Uncle Josh is there. Go ahead. Go say
hi to Uncle Josh.
I'm going to sneak around
and then hold onto his leg.
Put you in a sleeper hold. Sleeper hold and then just pass out.
A sleeper hold. I haven't heard it been called that in so many years. That's going to be great. You do realize I could give it to you 100% and there's no way you would finish it.
That sounds really filthy and dirty, but I don't want to know what that means.
Yeah. If I gave you the choke, there'd be no way you could finish it.
I'm pretty sure when we filmed a podcast with Brendan Schaub, you choked me out in the lobby.
I choked you out in the lobby?
Yeah, I remember you snuck up behind me like a little loser, and then you
like a
choke,
lizard,
and I passed out.
Oh, that would be great.
He just called you a lizard, dude.
Yeah,
a loser.
Loser. Yeah, you can't understand him. Dave, do you have that video I sent you of the Scottish guy in the box? Big John and Elaine sent it to me.
Oh, dude, that thing is hysterical.
That was so great.
A couple people sent it to me.
I said,
I think.
Did a couple people send it to you? I thought it was great.
Yeah,
man. I thought it was so funny.
It's not funny anymore.
Yeah, it was great. All right, well, hey, that's going to wrap up the Bellator talk on this. But hey, looking forward to that event. We're going to be there live. John and I will be calling it, and it should be fun, man. This should be a good fight right here. I'm excited for this one too. You got UFC Fight Night. You've got Tom Aspinall versus what's his first name? Marcin Tybura.
Tybura.
Tom should be able to get this fight to the ground. I think once the fight hits the ground, he'll be able to dominate the fight. But he is coming off of the injury, and sometimes the confidence isn't what it was before, and wondering
and if there's one thing Tybura is, the dude's a gamer, man. He hangs in there. He can be the nail until all of a sudden things turn and he becomes the hammer.
Yeah. He's got power, man. He's got power. He's a beast. He's, it's so funny because for a while he was just a punching bag for a lot of the heavyweights. And then now as he's gotten better, he understands, he's also kind of started to get his cardio a little bit better. He's still there in that second and third round. And he's not just a lump on the log now when he hits his back. He's not just hanging out there. He's trying to get back to his feet. He's trying to frame away. He's trying to make space. I think Aspinall is going to be too much. I've got high hopes. I got really high hopes for Tom Aspinall. I think he's a fantastic heavyweight. I'm looking forward to seeing him really make a big name for himself in the heavyweight division. And I've said this before. If he has a little bit more wrestling, and I know he's got the jiu-jitsu, he's got some good stand-up. It's not great, but he can grow on it. I'm really excited to see if he ends up being the champion later on, because I think he's got a great chance of being the heavyweight champ. If I look at the guys that are there now, outside of John Jones, outside of that,
are schlep rocking this poor guy.
I love it, man. I think he's going to be a
phenomenal.
Him. Give me somebody that has the skill level that he has right now in that heavyweight division. I mean, they've got it, but they're not putting it together like him right now.
Here, I swear to God, you know what? Every time I look at Tom Aspinall, you know what I see?
Podcast
Cain
Dave
Velasquez.
I
see Cain Velasquez.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm worried about him being injury prone, and it could be that he's not. But you got to figure the knee injury that occurred was self-induced. It wasn't anything that occurred, based upon he just took a step, and it can happen to anyone. It's not It's not like he did anything wrong, but that injury, you look at for a highly trained athlete to have that injury at that moment, is you look and you go, shit, that's just crap luck. Okay. But was it? Or is he that guy that, because he trains really hard to get to that fight, that he becomes, to the point where he almost becomes brittle he's worked himself into that point of is he overtrained? Is he not? And I want to see him go through this fight, and whether he wins or loses, I'm not worried about it. I want to see him go through it and have a good performance and, make it through the fight injury free, no problems, can come back and fight again within 3 months or so. That's going to be that like that. All right. Yeah. You know what? It's not what, because I actually look at it, man, I'm seeing, because of his talent, like you're saying, I'm seeing Cain Velasquez, a guy that all the talent in the world, but all of a sudden it starts to become injury prone.
Dave, pull up the heavyweight division for the UFC. I look at the guys who did he get hurt against? Was it Curtis Blades?
Curtis Blades.
Yeah. So when I look at that division, I think Curtis can give him a hard go because of the wrestling, have the control from the top position. He's got good striking. He's still fast. I know he's coming off of a loss. Stipe, I think, is just going to be... They're going to eventually have to take Stipe out of the rankings. From what I understand, the John Jones and Stipe fight is kind of falling on by its side. I don't know if they weren't able to come...
That's what I've heard that is not going to happen.
Okay. So then what do you do with John Jones? John really only wanted the fight.
Oh, you got Sergey Pavlovich. That's his next.
No, fight. I agree. But then, from what I understand, John really only had his sights set on fighting Stipe and then moving on.
But Dana can't make somebody fight.
No, I get it.
It's like the UFC they can't sit there and say, Stipe, you must fight John Jones. That's what he wants. I understand that John wants that fight, and I understand why John wants that fight, but it doesn't mean that's what he's going to get.
When I'm looking through here, though, John, excuse me.
There's a couple guys in there that I think match up well with Aspinall. And Jelton Almeida is one of them.
Yeah, I was just about to point that out. Yeah, he does. He matches up well. He's strong. He's a beast. I think he matches up well with him. But this is where I think we're going to start to see that little changing of the guard. You've got Pavlovich that's there right now. You've got Aspinall, and you've got Almeida, even Spivak. Those four right there, I think, are the future of the heavyweight division. Ty is a great fighter, Tuivasa, but he's one-dimensional. Volkov has proven to be also one-dimensional. His body frame gives people hard. Yeah, but he's also getting older.
That's true.
and he's been around a long time. People forget he was in Bellator also, and then he came over to the UFC. Derek Lewis is making his way down versus up. Same thing with Rosenstruck, down, not up. Dawkins is a small heavyweight. Romanov could start making his way up, but he's got a long ways to go. I really look at the guys like Cyril Gahn. You've got Cyril Gahn, Sergey, Tom Aspinall, Spivak, and Almeida. I see those 5 guys, or those 4 or 5 guys being the top 5 coming up here pretty soon. Unless they start signing some other heavyweights that can make some splash and noises. But Curtis, he has the most well-roundedness. He just can't seem to catch a break, man. Boy. He keeps he wins 1, 2, and then he loses. Then he wins 1, 2, and then he loses. So
exactly.
Yep. But this fight, this is a good return fight for Tom Aspinall to try to build some confidence on the knee, and
it's really a good fight for Tybura.
It is.
It's a good fight for him.
Yep. If he can stuff a takedown or 2 and make him work hard and try to touch him with the hands, he's got a good chance. So I'm excited for this fight. Both of them are just they're both great fighters. Looking forward to it. All right, next, what do you got for us, John? Dave? John.
Yeah, John.
We got another fight announcement here. Vicente Luque and Rafael dos Anjos in August.
This is a great matchup. I love this fight but this is one you're definitely going to see. RDA is shown how he fights in the welterweight division. And this is a welterweight fight, and he's got good stand-up, and he'll use that to get to the takedown, but he's going to be pressuring for the takedown against Luque the whole time. The question is, can he get it before he gets hit with some shots that hurt him? But this is a great matchup. I think this fight, you're looking at it, you're going, every time that Vicente Luque fights, for the most part, I'm going to watch, because he's had some unbelievable fights, because he comes to brawl. Even though he's got a lot of technical skill, he's a technician. But RDA, it is getting more towards the end of the career too, Josh. Yeah. And he's had a lot of wars, but he's still a dog, man. He'll get in there and he's going to cause anyone problems.
I think RDA is probably going to be favored to win this fight.
I think you're right. I think he might be. I'm not sure he will.
I'm not sure he'll win the fight, but I think he's got a good opportunity, because I think after 1 or 2 takedowns, if he can get 1 or 2 takedowns, and Vicente, the way he's been fighting, has been showing that he has kind of went back to being more one-dimensional. He was good at stuffing takedowns. He was good at letting the hands go and letting the kicks go. Now he's reverted back to boxing. And what you're going to see is fighters start to put miles on themselves. They start getting rid of some of the tools that they had when they were in their prime. A lot of top fighters, what they would do is they would mix it up. They have good wrestling. They'd mix in the submissions. They became really well-rounded. But as they get older,
made them difficult to fight.
Which made them difficult to fight. But as they started putting miles on themselves, they started getting rid of, wrestling's a little bit too difficult. They don't wrestle as much. And then, they don't grapple as much because they don't wrestle as much. So now, and then all of a sudden they stop kicking because, it hurts my foot or my shin or my legs are banged up or whatever it is. It does hurt. But when you're in your prime, all of those things didn't matter. But as you've gotten more miles on your body, more miles on your career, it starts to add up. And then you start throwing tools out that you used to use all the time that was making you so good. And now you become just what? A boxer.
Yeah.
And in this
much easier to deal with for everybody that steps in the cage with you.
Now, size-wise, he's the thicker guy. Probably a little bit taller. But, RDA is someone which what's funny is RDA doesn't get the credit he deserves.
Oh, no. He's been fantastic.
Former lightweight world champ. When being the lightweight world champ, was one of the difficult weight classes to win the title in. It still is. Don't get me wrong. It still is. But, the bantamweights and the featherweights have really made the name for themselves. But the lightweights are it's still one of the toughest weight classes to win the title in. And now he's up at welterweight, making some changes, but he's making the adjustment. He understands who he fights. There's a way to victory, and his way to victory in this fight, he can stand with him. He can let the inside leg kicks go. He can stand with him, John. He can, but he's not going to make it. He's not going to make it.
What's the difference here, Josh? What's the difference? If you take a look at Vicente Luque and where he has problems, it's when guys can really out wrestle him, or they have a lot of power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
RDA in the stand-up doesn't have the power to really hurt Luque unless he hits him with the perfect shot.
Okay.
Luque can take a shot, and if he can walk through the shots that RDA is throwing, that's going to make a big difference in this fight.
The guys that fight Vicente Luque, they hit and they run, they hit and they run. But the thing is that RDA is so good at hitting and realizing that he's hurt you and finishing with a kick or following up with another shot. He is so good at putting it all together and understanding. I don't just need to pot shot you and run like a lot of these other guys that I've fought. He's going to land and he's going to continue to go after it. If he realizes that, that was a good shot. Okay, I can go ahead and land another one, maybe even a third or a fourth. That's what the difference is going to be. He's got championship material at the top there where he's been the champ. He understands what it takes to be the champ. He understands all of these little intricacies that made him the champ. A lot of these guys that Vicente's fought as of recently that he's lost to, those guys, they haven't been champ. They're missing that one little thing that RDA has. He's already had it. He's been there. He's done that. And I'm not saying he's going to stand and bang. I'm not saying that. But I think the speed of RDA, he will be faster than Vicente Luque. And I also think that he's going to be able to mix it up a little bit more to keep Vicente guessing. Now, I think the size, if you look at Vicente, right, his hips, his waistline, his trunk,
Big legs.
Seems like it's filled out a lot more. And he's slowed down because of that. His last couple of fights, his waistline is not as small or as thin as it used to be. And John, he looks like he's starting to kind of like slow down. He's putting the weight on. He's building almost like he's building too much muscle for his body. And it's kind of hindered his performances. I could be wrong, but I look at old pictures and old videos of him fighting and he looked a little bit more light on his feet. Now he's more plodding, stalking, and just not as fast. And RDA he understands where he's at in his career. Look, I'm going to be the smaller welterweight, but I'm going to fight at the comfortable weight where I know that I can get all this done. He's the guy that I can wrestle you. I'm not going to get tired. I can stand with you. I can still got my speed. Okay, and maybe I don't have as much power as you guys, but I'm going to hit you 4 or 5 times that maybe I could put you away. He's going to have to put on a masterclass performance to win this fight, but I think he can.
Yes, and the real difference is, again, guys that give Vicente, guys that are true wrestlers, guys that chain their techniques together in that wrestling takedown well, where they catch him as he's trying to stop one thing, they're moving to the next, and then he tries to catch up to that, and then the last technique, boom, he's hitting the ground. RDA doesn't have that. He does not have that type of wrestling. Now, he's good on the ground. I'm not saying he's not, but he doesn't have that type of wrestling.
Yep.
And to sit there and think that he's going to hurt Vicente Luque and put him to the ground with shots, I'm just not sure that he has that power either, because he's not a power striker. He's a volume striker.
Well, tell that to Benson Henderson.
Well, Benson Henderson, he got hit with some big shots, but it was multiples. And that's what, like I said, he's a volume guy. He hits, same as you. Mm-hmm. You've knocked guys out, but you're not a power striker. You're a volume striker. That's what RDA is. He's not that guy that has that one punch power. Yeah. He's not the guy that's normally going to launch somebody, into a different, universe based upon one shot. He's got a good chin. He's always had a good chin. And that's one of the things that I think is, one of the elements that is in his favor in this fight. He can take a shot because Luque is going to hit him. And he's going to hit him hard. But he can do that and he can get into that takedown. The question for me is the cardio. How much energy does he put out trying to get those takedowns, and can he get them?
Pull up Vicente's record, because didn't he just lose by TKO his last fight?
He lost to Jeff Neal. Yeah.
Yeah, he lost it by TKO, correct?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. And then he lost the one before that, too.
It might have been KO. It was KO.
No, so KO. So that's on his mind. Confidence is everything. We talked about this.
And
this
is 2 losses in a row. No doubt about it.
2 losses in a row. With the Bilal fight, you said, and I'm going to agree with you, that Bilal will wrestle together. He'll also stick and move. He had a lot of good stand-up in that fight. He didn't just wrestle.
He did it, but when you look at his takedowns, he's an educated wrestler and a guy that can really change his techniques together, and that's how he ended up getting, Luque to the ground a lot. That's what got him the win. But
Bilal's out here in San Jose right now. Bilal's out here in San Jose right now training with Habib and those guys.
Okay.
They're all out here. So
that just shows that he's a smart guy. But you can take a look at those, the prior fights here. Luque's fought really good fighters, and he has fought guys that were champions, and he's gotten wins from them. He is a guy with a ton of skill, but he's got power, because that power makes a difference in when guys want to come in to try to get that takedown.
But I guess I'm going to continue to make the argument. You're right. He doesn't have the wrestling to chain it all together. But guys like Bilal, guys like Michael Chiesa, those guys don't have the stand-up that RDA has. The threat of the stand-up, of the kicks, putting it all together, combinations coming from the southpaw stance. That threat it's not the same. And I think you saw a little bit with Jeff Neal. He's got good takedown defense, and he's got power, and he can throw his combinations and when he throws. And I think at the stage of where Luque is, I'm going to give, because RDA has the championship experience of fighting world class, and not that Luque hasn't. He just hasn't got to that top level. Dave, what in the hell are you doing?
Stretching.
I can hear you.
I don't even want to know what he was doing.
Good thing
there,
your camera's off.
That
man.
was really bad.
Sounds like you're pulling your helmet off.
Holy shit!
Dave's over there.
I don't know what you were stretching. But man, it obviously felt really good.
Oh yeah, it was so good.
Jeez, man. Sound like you're pulling your helmet off, buddy. Calm down on the other side of this thing.
That was great.
Lord.
Look, John, anytime someone comes off of a loss, not only just a loss, but a KO loss, they're not even the same fighter they were the fight before. He's lost 2 in a row now. He's questioning his whole career right now. If I lose 3 in a row, it's pretty much a wrap. I mean, you're thinking to yourself, this is a wrap. People were thinking normally retirement after 3 in a row. And it becomes a snowball effect. You've like, everything I've been working on, it's just not working.
All right, we're going to do this because
I'm not betting you. I'm not betting you.
No, yes, you are, because you have evened up.
No.
You don't owe me any steak dinners anymore. We're going for a steak dinner.
Oh man, I bought John a steak dinner this last weekend, and now he's
That's
like
right.
even. So,
oh
geez. But I think that fight's going to be a better fight than than you're giving RDA credit for.
No, I think it's a great fight. I favor Vicente Luque in it. You're favoring RDA, and that's okay. That's why it's a good fight.
I'm going with the lightweight champ, the former lightweight champ. That's what I'm doing. I'm going with my guy right here. That's why I'm a ride or die with the lightweights, baby. I'm gonna stick to my own, baby. This is what I'm doing. I'm riding with my people.
Steak dinner, baby. Steak dinner on this one.
I'm riding with my people. So let's go, RDA. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Let's go, baby.
All right. Steak dinner it is.
All right.
God, just not provisions in Chicago, because I can't afford that.
No.
Hey, before we move on to some more content, I want you guys to go to onlyfans.com/weighing in. John, I'm looking for equal pay across the board, and I want equal pay for men and women, but also for women on OnlyFans. I want equal pay for us.
I
want for us.
I mean, just take a look at the inequality of pay.
It's such a disaster.
Just so wrong.
I know. Women are getting paid more. I mean, that's just not fair.
I wonder why.
I wonder if women get paid more in the cocktail industry, like in terms of that came out wrong. Came in like being a waiter or a waitress, or in the and those they've got to make more money. They've got to. So why I'm sure. I mean, look at OnlyFans. OnlyFans is just ridiculous. The difference in pay is just ridiculous on OnlyFans. But hey, you guys can also subscribe to us over there for free. See, we don't even charge. See, a lot of the women charge. We don't even charge because we've got to try to build the following first before we can charge. But we're not going to charge anyways. So we want you guys to follow us over at onlyfans.com/weighing in. It is free. We're taking fan questions from over there. Actually, we're going to do some fan questions here in a little bit. And we got a lot of those from our OnlyFans account. So we want to make sure you guys follow us over there. It is free. John's not posting any, butt pics or anything like that, or any assless chaps pics. But Josh has a Manscaped ad on there that has a little bit of my ass showing and some of my legs, baby. Woo! But yes, so follow us over there at onlyfans.com/weighing in. All right, let's get into something else there, Don. What do you got?
Well, the day before the Bellator Rizin from Japan on July 30th, we have an incredible, and this is a fight that should have happened before. Finally, they've gotten it together. Errol Spence Jr. versus Terrence Crawford on July 29th from Las Vegas. That is one hellacious boxing match. That's bringing the very best together, and that's the way it should be.
Do you feel like boxing kind of thinks
boxing always blows it by having it 5 years after it should have happened?
Should have happened. I know. It's crazy. And the thing is, it's not like either one of these guys have been super active.
No.
Like they're literally just sitting on their cash going, all right, cool. When's my next fight? Okay, now I want to put this one together. I mean, but this should be the fight that like should sell huge pay-per-views, should really get people back into boxing. I was expecting the same thing from a little bit from the Loma Haney fight. Yeah. The Loma Haney fight, their numbers weren't great in pay-per-view buys.
No.
I mean, if you look it up, I think they only did like 200,000. I don't even know if they did.
That's it?
I don't even know if they did 200, John.
Wow.
Yeah. I think
money's getting tight too, and some of these pay-per-views are getting a little ridiculous in the price for.
Yeah, they're trying to make up for it. They're trying to make up for the fact that people aren't buying them because everyone's streaming them. They're going to have to come up. I think the pay-per-view model is going to become dead here pretty shortly. It is dying. You've got tons of people that can. I'm not one of them because I'm not. You put me behind a computer screen. I'm like, how do I turn this thing on? And John, you're laughing, but you know you're the exact same.
Oh, dude, I'm worse. What are you talking about? Stealing something?
Oh man.
I gotta pay.
That's the
only way I know how to get it is by pushing that button that says buy pay-per-view.
Oh, I watch a lot on the side on my phone, right? I just hit the double click for the face thing, facial recognition to charge my credit card. Yep, so I watch a lot of it from my phone or my iPad because I'm usually traveling when it's going on or I'm out and about. So, but I think this is a fight right here that can save boxing, not save boxing forever, but save boxing for at least, I think it can bring boxing from the depths of shit, to back on top a little bit. I really believe, look, if this fight is so close and it's so good, we can see a number 2. And if you end up seeing, okay, I thought I won, okay, and people were saying, well, the other guy won, and back and forth, and we see them fight again, this could bring boxing like, okay, and we haven't had a trilogy fight, or we haven't had a good, a good matchup in years that has brought recognition to the sport in a positive way. Hopefully the judges don't screw this one up, but I think this is going to be a good fight, man. I really think.
Are you trying to say that the Loma Haney fight was screwed up by the judges?
I'm not trying. I did say that shit. I said that shit. As soon as that thing was over, I was like, man, I think Loma won that fight. But and sadly, Haney's not going to take that chance and do the rematch, which I think is
called brains. That's called brains.
John, who's he going to fight next that people are going to be like excited to watch him fight?
Doesn't matter. Here's the whole thing. If you're Haney, you're looking and saying, okay, I just learned something off of this fight.
Mm-hmm.
And I got hit more in this fight than I have in my last 5 fights combined. So I got to win. Why am I going to take a chance against that guy again? That's just not being bright. I'll fight somebody else and make money fighting somebody else. If you're his father, that's the right move. It's the smart move. I'm not saying I like it, but I'm saying it's the smart move.
Let me ask you this: in an industry where like just basically it's the main event gets the most money, and the promoters, there's opposite promoters normally that are promoting their fighter, and you guys can come to an agreement. Wouldn't you think that you could make more money off of that rematch than watching him fight someone else? When people were like, he lost his last fight, why would I care watching him fight? I would rather see the rematch between the two of them because the filling out process is already over.
I do think you could get more money off of it, but I do think that you could lose that 0 on the end of your record and all those belts that are so important to you.
Yep.
So why am I going to take that chance when I can still make a lot of money in my next fight? Maybe not as much, but I can make a lot of money and not be in a position where it's as dangerous.
You started off the conversation, though, with that this was a good learning experience and he can learn a lot from it. Well, it's actually easier to take what you've learned in that fight and re-implement it against the person you just fought versus the unknown on the other side.
Sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't.
It's true, but then what?
Give me the person on the other side is really good and created a lot of problems for you. You're going to try to fix those problems, but they're also going to be changing things up, so they're going to create more problems.
Okay, give me the stats though on the person who won the first fight. That if he wins the second fight, what are the stats?
No doubt, especially stats wise, if you're looking about 80% for the younger fighter. Okay, and Haney is the younger fighter.
Now, when I look at that matchup, if I look at Haney is someone who can make the adjustments and grow from there. Now, I think also Loma, he makes adjustments and can grow also, but he's very limited in his growth because he is the way he has to fight that fight is the same exact way. He's got to make him miss and make him pay. So Haney can make more adjustments to make it an easier fight for him. Whereas Loma, he's got to fight a very similar fight. He can't make that many adjustments because his style, his body, and his style is subject to just what he does. He makes you miss. He makes you pay. He doesn't really have the power, I don't think, to knock Haney out. He can hit him with, he can knock him out with clusters of shots, but he doesn't have the one punch knockout. And now other people have said that he hits hard. I do believe he hits hard. But he hits hard because he hits you from other angles when you don't see him coming. That's why it feels like he hits you hard. But you can tell by the way he hits, he's got to hit you with 3 and 4 more punches because he doesn't have a ton of power. He's got pop. Of course he does. He's a fucking boxer. That's all he's done his whole life. You know what I mean? He's learned how to hit the bag. He's learned how to put power. He's developed the power over time. Whereas Haney is still super young and can make the adjustments, make the growth. I think in the rematch, I think he makes it not only... Arguably, I think he ends up winning pretty easily the second fight. And to make that money against somebody that you've already just fought, you understand the filling out process is over. You understand what they're good at. You understand where you made the mistakes. You understand, okay, I can see what he does here, and you can go back and watch the video. If he fights Shakur, if he fights somebody else, if he fights Tank, if he fights, him and Garcia would be a good fight. But if he was to fight Tank or if he was to fight Shakur, I don't know if I don't see him winning those fights.
Awfully good boxer, dude. Very hard to hit. And that's the difference. That is the difference with what happened against Loma, is Loma was able to hit him. Mm-hmm. Where Tank is fast, but Tank relies on power. Yeah. And he's got power. But if there's one thing that you saw out of the Loma fight, Devin Haney's tough. He's got a chin. He takes the shot. But he did get stunned.
He got stunned a couple times.
He got stunned. The fight, the round that I still go back to is the 10th round. I thought it was probably the best round for Loma out of all of them. And one of the judges gave it to Haney.
Mm-hmm. What's his name? Moretti or whatever. Moretti or whatever his name is. Yeah. What's funny is
not a good one on that.
I saw a thing. I know I'm not getting any flack for this, but I'm saying I saw a thing that Morning Combat did, and they said, hey, judges, refs, that they can age out.
Yes.
Just because you're in your tenure, you had your tenure, that you have all this experience, you have all this, but you're visually not seeing or watching the fight anymore the way that you used to when you were in your prime.
True. It's like anything.
And, and they should age out. And that can be said about a lot of things. Politicians, presidents, things like that. They shouldn't be in office after they're fucking 80 years old or 70 years old. But I go back into the same thing goes for this. If you're a ref, if you're a judge, if you're, there should be an age out process, and it should be based off of years. It should be based off of not just your age, but it should be based off of your results. If you've had, say, 1 or 2 in the last year of where it's been, up and down, then okay, we got to start evaluating whether, we need to push you back down to judging some of the lower cards or keeping you up in the prime time. In this fight, I'm interested to see with Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, what judges they use. Where's this going to be at, by the way?
Vegas.
Las Vegas? Okay.
Yeah. So same place.
Who do you think are the 3 best judges in the Vegas?
In boxing?
In boxing.
Well, see, it's not, boxing does it a little bit different than MMA. Boxing has also the sanctioning bodies. Mm-hmm. So the sanctioning bodies will talk with the athletic commission and try to bring in certain people, from different areas, especially dependent upon if the fighters, you got one that's an American, one that's from Europe. They're definitely going to bring someone from Europe to try to even things up as they say and stuff. But I look at it and say Tim Cheatham is from Vegas, and I've known Tim forever. He was part of that Loma Haney fight, but he gave it to Haney, 115, 113, I believe. But he's an outstanding judge. Moretti's been there forever. I can't say who they're going to have, but if you look at Nevada as a commission with boxing, they've really gone through a changeover. Because if you look at, you had Joe Cortez was big in Nevada for a long time, and Joe retired, and they aged him out, and he still works with trying to help guys in different things with their mechanics and stuff, but aged him out. Bob Bird, who had come from California, he was the referee for the Mayweather McGregor fight. Timed him out, have kind of pushed him out a little bit. And they're pushing out, Kenny Bayless is getting older, and they're not giving him the same amount of fights. So, and they're bringing guys in from different locations. It used to be that Nevada never brought an official in from another state, another country. They always had, these are our guys, and these are the ones that are going to do it. And those were the Tony Weeks, the Kenny, Baylesses, the Bob Birds, the Joe Cortez. Those are our guys. Those are the ones we're using. Well, you said that was, I believe it was Doc Harvey. Did I say? I said that wrong. Harvey Doc. I said Doc Harvey. Harvey Doc was the referee for the Loma fight. You look and you go, look, he's from a completely different state. They're really changing what they're doing. So there is a change in the air with Nevada as far as who they're using and how they're bringing them in. It's different than it was in the past.
All right. Well, if you had to pick three, though, that you would say, hey, these would be the best three possibly in the game that would be able to judge this fight, who would you like?
I would say Feldman would be one. Should be coming in. They should use him. He's really an outstanding. Max DeLuca does a great job. He's from California. He would be an outstanding judge for it. And you want to have one from where you're at, I say Tim Cheatham then.
Okay. So now we didn't talk a whole lot about the fight, though. Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford. How do you see this fight going?
I'll tell you what. This is one of those ones that Errol Spence is just fantastic, but I look at Terrence Crawford as the best boxer there is in boxing right now because he's the full package. He has power. He can hit. He's got big power. He can box. He can dismantle you with footwork. He's a good fighter inside the space, getting in close in a CQB, situation. He's really good inside at digging to the body and avoiding being hit while he's in that, phone booth area, but he's also great at range. I think he's the best boxer there is right now. He's getting a little older. So, this is the moment, and I think this is the whole thing, why it didn't happen until now. They're looking, saying, okay, well, he's a little bit older, but I still think he's got enough to beat Errol Spence.
Yeah, the movement, the slickness of Terrence Crawford is going to be a little bit of a problem, I think. He's got power. He can deliver the speed in and out.
He can fight anywhere.
Yeah, he can fight anywhere. But Errol Spence is right now just
good.
You say, riding high. He's riding high on his level of boxing. And when it comes down to, and I can't say this enough, it really comes down, the champ believes that he is the best because of what? He has all the belts. He has all the accolades. The confidence is at all-time high. That makes him 2%, 5%, 1%. It doesn't matter. It makes him 1% better.
Dave, do me a favor. Pull up Terrence Crawford's record.
Where are you going with this, John? Go ahead.
As simple as it gets. Go ahead. You see that big zero?
I get it.
Confidence.
I get it.
Confidence. He's never lost. 39-0.
When was the last time?
That's where I'm going with that.
When's the last time he fought?
39-0.
12/10/2022.
Yeah.
Okay. Dun, dun, dun.
About a year.
No. That was literally like.
It'll be about it. Yeah, no, it won't.
No, a
it'll
couple
be
months
like,
ago.
It'll be
Yeah,
like
it was
9 months.
ago,
It'll be
6
like
months
9
ago.
months. It'll be like 9 months between that fight.
Oh, by the time they have the new one, yeah. About that, huh?
But confidence, come on, baby. No one.
I get
no
it.
one has beaten him.
I get it, John. I do. I get it. I'm saying
Why I
though, is
wanted
that
him
when
to bring it up.
No, I get it. I get it. How old is he? 35?
That I'm not sure. 35. 35.
35, yeah, 35. I mean, he's still like that age is still good. 35,
Dude,
36
so
is still good. He is good. He is. Do you think he takes it?
I do. I think the main factor difference is, like I said, he can fight everywhere and he's got power.
Yeah.
So when you have Errol Spence, who's going to want to fight on the outside, that's where he's best at. He's got great use of footwork and range. He's going to want to fight on the outside. When Terrence Crawford says, we're going to fight this where I want, and I'm going to step into that range, now it becomes Errol Spence's speed starts to diminish a little bit. All that footwork and everything is going to be taken away as far as the angles that he tries to create. And when you got a guy that hits like fucking Terrence Crawford and can box, man, that's a hard element to get past.
I guess that's why we fight the fight, huh? I guess we're going to see. We're going to see exactly how it all goes down.
So you're picking Errol Spence?
Nope, I'm not picking Errol Spence. I'm not picking either one.
I want another steak dinner.
Nah, you're not going to win the first steak dinner, buddy.
I'm winning the first one, too.
Oh, man, lightweight's going to take it. Come on, RDA. We're going to ride with my boys.
Well, this one's happening first, so this can be our first steak dinner, and then it can be double or nothing.
I'm not betting on this one. I'm not betting on this one. I can't bet on boxing, man. I don't trust the judging.
Oh,
I don't trust the judging until they figure it out. All right, what else you got for us, Dave?
All right, I can throw in a couple of fan questions from OnlyFans here. We got time for a couple here, so
let's go.
This first one from A. Pauling, who asks, do you think it would help or hurt MMA if it was run as a traditional sport instead of sports entertainment?
I'm confused. What do you mean?
What he's trying to say is traditional sport. It's a traditional sport as far as it's real. That's where sport is sport, and it's either real or it's not. When you look at the WWE, that is sports entertainment. There is a predetermined outcome. That is completely different. Does MMA and boxing live off of the hype around the fight and the build up to that fight? Yeah, they do. And you can take a look at, I'm going to go back to the Haney-Loma fight and exactly what Josh said as far as that. They only had like 200,000 pay-per-view buys. Well, you saw Haney push Loma at the weigh-ins and stuff, and he's getting fined for it. But why did he do it? He did it to try to create more heat and more interest, because that's what sells. And so you're always going to get the selling factor, the show part, the mouthing off and the little things, the little attacks that go back and forth. Fighters know that, hey, man, you know what? You can say whatever you want about me. Go ahead. I don't give a shit. I get to punch you in the fucking face. Mm-hmm. So don't push it past certain points. Don't bring in family. Don't bring in religion. Don't bring in things past me. Go ahead. You can say whatever you want. And that's just the way it is. And that's just a form of building the fight. And there's guys that are great at it, and there's guys that suck at it, but it is part of the sport. I don't think that anything would change at all with fighting.
I mean, it's the entertainment business. I mean, if you want to make it entertaining, you got to go out there and fight your ass off and make it entertaining. Every fighter has that opportunity. Some of them just play it safe. When there's a fight that they really want to focus on making sure that they get the win. Not every fighter wants to make sure they get the win of on every fight. But some will go ahead and cut loose a little bit more and take chances against certain opponents. In terms of doing stuff previously, whether it's prior to the fight or leading up to the fight. It's the build up. That's for me. I was never a trash talker. I'm a trash talker in person to friends, all these things. But when it came to the opponents, I never had that in me. I feel like the internet is forever, and the last thing you want is for your kids to look up, their father was calling someone, douchebag, like whatever it is. It could call them all these words, right? And you're like, really? That's that's not what you really want. And so I don't know, just something that always resonated in my mind. Like it's, your kids, your grandkids, if they ever decide to look you up, and then the internet's forever.
Don't do something that's going to embarrass you later on.
Yeah. It was not my cup of tea, man. I looked at it that this is just a sport. Don't take it to the next level and make it more than what it is. And we've seen that before, the Conor thing with Habib, and stuff that he's put on social media, stuff that he's tweeted, it just, the thing is like, it's just not, you've taken it to a new level, and it doesn't need to go there. Yeah. And some fighters need to remember that this thing is not going to last forever. And when it's over and done, people are going to remember what you did, not just always in the cage, sometimes what you did outside the cage. And that's the struggle.
Remember more about what you did on the outside than what you did on.
That's the struggle with John Jones. I think for a lot of people is that they're having a hard time looking past how great he is in the cage because of the things that he's done outside the cage. And that's all on him. No matter how much I really enjoy watching him fight, I think he's a fantastic fighter, if not the best to ever do it. But the casual fan who listens, who watches him, they're having a hard time watching him and not thinking about all the shitty things he did outside the cage. It's unfortunate, but you've got to keep all your accolades inside the cage. Make people only remember you for that versus the other stuff. Next.
All right, we'll wrap up on this one. FJFKEL asks, when will Bellator do a female Grand Prix?
Man, I'm not too sure. If you watch Bellator's Grand Prix, one of the things that you'll always notice is how there is a buildup in talent in that division as they're getting close to doing that Grand Prix. And so, you can take a look and say, well, they brought in Sarah McMahon, but that's not going to be enough for them to do a featherweight tournament. You got Chris Cyborg sitting at the top. You got good fighters in there. Kat Zingano is looking to possibly fight Chris. We'll see if that one comes about. You got Sarah McMahon now there. You still have Arlene Blanco. You got some really good fighters, but you don't have that 8 that is going to be something that I think Scott Coker looks at and says, I'm going to do a Grand Prix with it. Mm-hmm. You can look at the flyweights. There's some really good flyweights in there, but again, not the 8 that you're looking for. Mm-hmm. And so I think, when you see a buildup of the division itself with a depth of talent all of a sudden being signed, that's when you're going to be seeing the possibility of a Grand Prix with the women's divisions.
Yeah, I'm looking at, let's be honest, Scott Coker started females MMA on the next level in terms of, bringing them to the forefront with Gina
first
Carano,
one to do
Chris
main event in
Cyborg.
a big show. Yeah.
Exactly. So that happening. But then once the UFC and Strikeforce buyout happened, all the female fighters went to the UFC. It's going to be hard to get them back. There's just not enough female fighters that are out there right now to really flood two big promotions. And that's what we're running into a little bit of a problem, in terms of the female market. There's not as many female fighters out there. And if they are there, they're going to want to go where all the other female fighters are, into the UFC. We've been lucky enough to have, a top 4, top 5, that are really, really good, but you can't build a tournament format off of that. You need at least 8 because you need to have your top 8 in a tournament to make it, I guess, watch worthy, I guess I would say. And so, don't get me wrong. You've got Chris, you've got Arlene, you've got, Kat Zingano, you've got, Sarah McMahon, you've got fighters that are there. But there's just not enough of them. It gets watered down after you get past like 5 or 6. Sinead Kavanaugh, she'd be great, to watch that fight as well. With her in the mix. Leah McCourt, you've got them. Janae Hardy, you could probably throw in there as well. But it's like you're mixing all these, you got to mix them in, but there's I feel like there's a gap in the discrepancy between the top 1, 2, and 3, then the rest of them below.
Yep.
And then, but
and you can take a look, Josh. You can take a look. Take a look at the UFC because you're talking about that. They have, their champion being, Amanda Nunes at 135 and 145. Amanda would rather fight at 145, but her next fight is at 135 because they can't even find anyone to fight her at 145 that's worthy of them putting the money out for Amanda Nunes and them being able to make money back off of it. It's tough. Yeah. It is a tough class. Now, they could obviously try to get someone like a Kayla Harrison at 145 to come fight Amanda. Would that make, money? Yeah, but it's one fight. Mm-hmm. And it's a rough one, man. It's tough. The women, especially when you get into the higher weight classes, there's just not a depth of talent like there is, especially when you get into like the 115s, where the UFC with strawweights, they've got a depth of talent there. Bellator doesn't even really have a 115 class right now. They've got women fighting at strawweight, but they don't have a title.
Yeah, that's how we kind of figure out if we're going to start that weight class or not. You start dipping into those divisions a little bit with a couple signings, see how well the fights go, and see how much they produce interest into it. And so, it's good because we've got a couple females at 115 that are pretty damn good. You got Carrie Melendez, Gilbert Melendez is his wife.
Yep.
You got Benson Henderson's wife, and Maria, and so you've got fighters there. And the girl that Maria just lost to, she's freaking awesome too. I can't remember her name. The judo girl.
I want to say,
but she was phenomenal.
Siller,
right? Siler.
I want to say Mackenzie.
Yep. Mackenzie. Yeah. Oh, Stiller. Okay. Yeah, she's phenomenal, man. Phenomenal fighter. Yep. All right. Well, hey, guys, that's going to go ahead and wrap us up. Go to onlyfans.com/weighing-in and subscribe to us over there. It is free. Also, go to weighing-in-merch.com. Hit the subscribe button. That's the biggest thing. Hit the subscribe button on our channel. Share our content everywhere. We'd really appreciate that. There's been a little bit of a lull in terms of the growth, in terms of the channel. So we'd like to try to get you guys to share our content out there. Put us on Twitter. Put us on Instagram. We want to thank you guys for continuing to support us. And John and I want to say something specifically is everywhere we go, Chicago, Dublin, Paris, the USO, every single time we're somewhere, there's multiples and multiples of people that come up and say, hey, man, I love the pod. You guys, thank you guys so much for continuing to support us and listen to us. Share our content, tag us in it. We would love to retweet it, repost it, and have conversations through social media if we can with you guys. And want to thank you guys so much for continuing to support this show. And weighing-in-merch.com has some new shirts, new designs.
We've got cheesecake. We've got hot fudge sundae.
But John, go ahead and take us away, buddy.
Hey, for everyone out there, especially the people in the military, happy Memorial Day to all of you. Thank you for what you do. To everyone out at Fort Bragg, man, thank you for being so kind to us. We had a blast. We hope you have a great weekend, and we will see you.